Tarot is a rich and diverse tradition, with each system offering its own unique language and symbolism. In this video, I'm sharing my top 3 decks from each of the 3 major tarot traditions: the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Thoth, and the Marseille or Pip-style decks. These are the decks I feel most connected to, ones that I return to for inspiration, exploration, and the pure enjoyment of working with their artwork and energy. Whether you're just starting out or have been on your tarot journey for years, I hope this gives you some ideas or helps you rediscover a few hidden gems. Help me ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. Feels like a long time since, and I've done a lot of videos in terms of lives and vlogs from the trip that Sandra and I just went on. But it feels like it's a long time since I sat and did a pre-recorded video. So that's about to change. I've still got another week off work, and when I had some time off, gosh, it was only last month. It was a very short half term. I had the time to sit and enjoy my decks and create some videos and put them out as a premiere, and then able to enjoy chatting with people in the chat. And I think I'm going to do that. I've been thinking about this tag for a few weeks now, and I just wanted to have the time to be able to do it. I've also got a number of decks that have been sent by Cheryl, which we showed in last night's spotlight, that I want to do some kind of detailed walkthroughs of as well. So they'll go up during this week as well. And yeah, it's bank holiday weekend in the UK, which means we get an extra day off. I mean, I booked the week anyway. I booked 2 weeks off with going away, and I wanted a week for a little bit of downtime. So if you are in the UK, I'm mindful as well that many people will have plans, will be away or enjoying the bank holiday. So it may be pretty quiet in the premieres anyway. Anyway, I've got a cup of tea, which is piping hot at the moment, and I thought we would get going on my top 3 of 3. So you will have, even though I've not recorded it yet, you will have already heard it at the beginning, my intro. So I was thinking about the 3 tarot traditions. Now, it often gets referred to as the tarot system, but the tarot itself is a system of divination, the system of cartomancy, etc., etc. Within that system, there are different traditions, and I wanted to talk about the 3 main traditions, which is, of course, the Rider-Waite-Smith, which is my preferred, if we like, tarot tradition that I like to work with. That said, I really appreciate the Marseille Pip, and I emphasize Pip, not just Marseille, because most of the decks that I'm going to show you actually aren't Marseille, but when Marseille gets used to illustrate Pip decks, and that's not the case. Marseille is French. It has a particular art style, particularly the arrangements of the pips, but there are also beautiful Italian decks and other Pip decks. Pips just mean, not illustrated. Pips like a playing card where you get X amount of swords, X amount of clubs, coins, etc. And then, of course, the Thoth tradition, which Oh, I was going to say I've discovered recently, but that's not the case, because two of the decks that I'm going to show I've worked with for about 7 or 8 years. Because again, we're talking about that lineage, that tradition, and lots of people, myself included really, when you think Thoth deck, you think of the Aleister Crowley, Lady Frida Harris deck, and of course that's where other decks that I'm going to show have taken their inspiration from. So that's a bit of a preamble. So we will start with the RWS, because I think most people watching this who know me will know mine anyway. But because I'm doing this tag, I'm going to mention them. And when I did the videos last month, I talked about traditional RWS, and then I talked about RWS alternatives. And my top 3 kind of blends them, because my third place deck is the Golden Rider. This is a gorgeous deck, and I am mindful that when I show this, you know, it is out of print, but I didn't want to just show decks that are in print, because these are my top 3, and you can still pick it up. Yes, they go for ridiculous amounts of money, but all you need to be in is in a trade group or something like that, and every so often decks will come up that you could trade for if you couldn't afford to buy it. I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit closer now, just so you can get to see these. So this was the box that it came in, and I had a tin made from MPC using the card back design, although it's a lot lighter than the actual card back. But you know, when you print, when you take a photograph and you scan and you print it, it comes out different. I love these tins. I know you can get some with stickers, a lot of people go for that, but I like the printing directly onto the tin. It has a lovely feel. So the Golden Rider Tarot, I know I showed it last time, so I won't spend too much time talking about it. But this deck is a radiant reimagining of the classic RWS. It features bold, saturated colours, particularly when you see some of the pinks, etc. And it just has this distinctive hand-painted style. It's by a Swiss artist, Francois Tapenot, I think it is. Does it say his name? That's going from memory. Ah, yeah, no, it's on the back. Francois Tapenot. And it was originally published in the 1980s. And it's just got such a luxurious feel. It's called the Golden Tarot because even though it's not like, I think if this deck was to be created now, it would have gold embellishments. I don't think they had that kind of technology back then. However, it's been done that well that it actually does have and gives off a metallic feel. It's really clever. Cardstock is lovely. It is a little glossy, not hugely glossy. I wouldn't, you know, if you looked at this, you wouldn't say, well, this is a glossy deck, but it does have that shiny finish to it. It's just got a really warm, nostalgic aesthetic, which just brings new life to Pamela Coleman-Smith's iconic imagery. It's wonderful. I couldn't be without this deck. And the reason why I'm doing this top 3 of 3 is because, you know, if, I don't know, if people talk about, you know, if your house is on fire and you can only grab one deck, what would you grab? It's nonsense, because I had to leave this building probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. There was a fire somewhere down below and everybody had to get out, and to be honest, I didn't take any decks. I just got the hell out. But you know, if I was, I think the one I've heard before as well is if you're going on to stay on a desert island for a year, I think that's probably more realistic. And I only had a small bag, and I could take my favourite 3 from each 3. Then these would be the ones that I would take, or I had to get rid of my entire collection, and I could keep 3 from each tarot tradition. Then the ones I'm showing you today would be these. I mean, it's beautiful. Look at the colours in that rainbow. Gorgeous, gorgeous deck. And it's one of my favourite back designs as well. And again, it has this metallic kind of feel to it. The pink is really striking against the bronze and gold backs. I did edge it. I know people are like, oh, you've edged a rare out of print deck. It's my deck, and I think it complements it really well, and it doesn't matter because it's the deck that I love to use. So that's in 3rd place of the RWS tradition. The second one, and these 2 everybody will know anyway, but is the Ancient Ancient Orum. Love it. I'm not going to show it in any great detail because I've showed it a lot since I got this deck. I've only had it a few months, but again, rich colours, luxury cardstock, feels great to shuffle, to read with. It's a dream. The guys over at Destiny did a fantastic job. Sandra came to stay, as you know, and I showed it to her because she said, I really don't like it. It feels, to me, it's like cards are stuck together and you pulled them apart. And I did say to her, when you come, I'll show it you. And she said, actually, it's a lot better to handle, to have in your hands. It's a beauty, and it's just a dream to work with. And that has, I edged that as well. It did have like a brown edging, but I wanted just to add a layer of gold, which wasn't, I didn't want to go over it thickly because I wanted it to have that ancient kind of feel, being as it's the Ancient Orum Tarot. Yeah, and of course, now I know recently I've said that Ancient Orum is my number 1. I guess I've gone back to the Blushing Fool being my number 1, particularly since I acquired another copy last month when I went on a day trip to Haworth in Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, and there was one in there on sale for £150, I think it was. And I used to have 2 copies of the blue box Blushing Fool, and I traded one for a yellow box Blushing Fool, and it didn't feel the same. It's lovely, but it didn't feel the same. And so walking into a shop and seeing that they had a 1972 Blushing Fool deck, I just had to get it. I left the shop not buying it, went and had some lunch, and I was like, it's almost like it's meant to be, seeing it in a shop. And I always said that I'd love to get a backup copy of the blue box. So this one has been out on my desk. I've not worked with it yet, other than on the train in Haworth, doing some readings for my friends, because as you know, the month of May, I'm working with the Thoth exclusively, and a Marseille style deck, because I don't want, in the past when I've tried to commit to a month working with a particular deck or system, the RWS has jumped in and said, hold on a minute, you're not leaving me behind. And this time I just wanted to put it aside for a whole month and just work with other systems, and I have done so far. So it's fun to do this tab as well because I get to hold one again. So what's so special about this? I mean, it's a coveted early 1970s. You can get 1972, 1973, I think even a 1971. It was before they put the copyright on cards, and it's known amongst collectors for the pinkish hue. I was going to see if I'd got the fool. There we go. The pinkish reddish hue on the fool's face, hence the name, the blushing fool. It has a thicker and kind of like, not textured, but it's just got this dreamy, buttery cardstock. It has no lamination, and it's the line work, the sharpness of the line work even, and the rich colour palette just makes this such a soulful deck. It's just gorgeous. Look at it. So it's back as my number one. I love the Ancient Orum, but since getting this and just looking at it and holding it, I realised it's always going to be my soul deck. So that's the RWS. We're going to move on to the Pip, Marseille Pip, top 3 now. And the first one I'm going to talk about, which I love so much, is the Ancient Italian. I should have got the box out. Is it to hand? It's probably not. Oh, it is. Hold on. Bear with. The Ancient Italian Tarot. Now this, and I've done it myself. I've done a video comparing it with Il Meneghello's Soprafino. I know it's not an exact, and people were like, it's not the same. I know it's not an exact, but it's pretty damn close. Some of the colour is different, but you know, there's also the classic tarot by Lo Scarabeo, which is another kind of version. I do love the Il Meneghello version of this. I think it is the line work and the staining gives it, and the cardstock gives it that really old, I love that star, that really old feeling to it. The corners are very sharp on this one, and I did think about rounding them, but then I get a little bit twitchy, like, ooh, modifying an Il Meneghello deck. But what I would say is this version, I love the backs, the Ancient Italian Tarot by Lo Scarabeo, is just wonderful. And it's been out on my desk just here in one of the trays, and it's really nice. It's nice cardstock, silky matte cardstock. The details are really nice. The colours aren't as saturated, perhaps. Look at that devil. Isn't he great? As in the Il Meneghello or the classic tarot, but I find that this one, I don't mind too much if it gets a little bit bashed up, or, you know, we're being left out, or if it gets a little bit dusty. It's gorgeous. Look at the tower. The detail is wonderful. So, sorry guys, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and of course I got a call. I forgot what I was saying, or even if I was saying, or if I was just showing the cards. Now that call lasted for about 12 minutes. But anyway, yeah, so the Ancient Italian by Lo Scarabeo, it's a deck that reproduces the 19th century Italian woodcut style imagery based on a classical Marseille structure. And this is what I'm talking about what makes it a Marseille, even though it's technically not, because it's Italian, but it's using the Marseille structure with that ornate, decorative touches. Look at the sun card. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? it just has such a nice historical feel. It's been done really well. Here's our Fool. Yeah, so the ancient Italian tarot. I mean, the star, the sun, and the moon, the luminaries in this deck, in fact, let's find them, are absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. You know, I've just seen them quite close together. Okay. And now I want them. Where's the star? I thought the star was much earlier on than this. I bet I've already gone past it, and you're like, you've passed the star. I have. I knew it was earlier on in the deck. Yeah, I don't know. I should perhaps do a fast forward on that bit. Oh my God. There we go. I mean, just look at those three together. Let's put them in the right order. But aren't they stunning? Oh, be still my beating heart. So yeah, the ancient Italian tarot, or if you wanted, you could get the classic tarot or the Sopraffino, is in third place. In second place is one that I've mentioned a lot. This is the second edition with the orange backs. There is a first edition which I've edged and in like a teal blue, but this is Tarot des Ozarks or Ozarks. Now I don't know if it's true, and I should have done some research, but somebody messaged me to say that the creator of this deck had passed away, and that's very sad if that's the case. But this deck is a more modern and stylized Marseille inspired deck. It really plays with colour, and it is absolutely gorgeous to read with. When you do a spread with this deck, wow, it's incredible. I mean, look at that fiery red for the Devil card. Look at the Tower. It maintains the symmetry and remains quite true to the Marseille lineage. It's very elegant. And very contemporary. So it just gives a fresh yet respectful take on a centuries old tradition. I love it. And again, I've showed it a lot. That is such a beautiful image, look at that. Again, just a deck I don't want to ever be without. Show a couple more. Moon card is beautiful. I love how the backgrounds change colour as well. Look how beautiful that blue is. Ah, gorgeous, gorgeous deck. So, Tarot des Ozarks is in number 2 of my top 3 of the Marseille Pip section. Okay, so what's number one? This may surprise a lot of people because I haven't showed it or talked about it for a long time. And it was around, let's see, it was around October time of last year. When I did a video about decluttering. And when I started arranging some decks, I saw it on a shelf and I thought, you know, I've not really ever worked with you and it's such a shame because you're a beautiful deck. So I pulled it out and popped it in one of my little cubby holes here on the desk, just here. And every so often I've pulled it out and done some readings with it and it is so beautiful. It is stunning. It is the Vachetta. Giovanni Vachetta. This version is by Il Manighello. Now, I think there is a mass market equivalent, similar to the fact that the Sopravino has the Ancient Italian, but I think it might have had horrendous titles and things like that on it. If anybody knows of a reasonably priced mass market version of the Vachetta that's not horrendous, let me know. I know people like Debris bring out cheaper versions just because I want to. Again, this is a deck that I would love to corner around, but I'm nervous to do so, and the images go right up, so it will look a bit odd because I don't mind square edge decks, but because of the paper that Il Manighello uses, they do become quite sharp, and that's the only thing. So if I was able to get a reasonably priced mass market version, then I'll be really happy because I think I would use it more. This was 1264, 1500 copies. But this deck is so beautiful, and it is my favourite Pip deck. These are the backs, and I do like Il Manighello's choices of backs. I mean, look at that Hermit card. Really beautiful. So this is a reproduction of 1893, was it? Doesn't tell you unless it's on the title. Something tells me it was 1893. Well, it says 1863 to 1940. 1893. Yeah, 1893, I thought it was. Yeah, so a reproduction by Il Manighello of the 1893. I think it's just come to me. I think the mass market version was called Tarot the Master, and I trimmed it when I went to stay with Kelly Bear, and I backed it, but it all got the pen I used at the side was metallic, and it got clunky and sticky. But if there's another version out there, let me know. But look at the colours, look at the art style. It is just so gorgeous. Here's our devil. And whilst it's a Pip deck, and it's in the Pip deck category for obvious reasons, the minors do have more illustration going on than what you'd get in a traditional Marseille. I mean, look, the two of batons. Here's our magician. The colours are fantastic. And think this is, I mean, Il Meneghello, was it Eduardo Menegazzi? I know it's his daughter who has the business now, but did a fantastic job with the Soprafino, but really excelled themselves with this deck. It's exquisite. Here's our Fool. Oh, gosh. Again, another deck that when you lay the cards down, just look so beautiful on your reading table. So, the Vachetta. Giovanni Vachetta Tarot. Then that one got a little bit, I need to flatten that. Also that's an issue with Il Meneghello decks, is they can get easily bent if you are a little bit rough with them because of the card style, but it's no huge biggie. All right, so that is the Pip decks. So now we move on to the Thoth based tradition. And you might notice I keep interchanging between Thoth and Thoth. But it is what it is. All right, so in third place is the Urban Tarot. Now, this version here is the indie version, which is my favourite version, and it came with quite a big book. Would even fit in, look. Love this book. And you can see by the art style and the arrangements that it's very, very Thoth inspired. So that was the first one that I got, and then it is available as a kit from US Games. It went mass market. Robin Scott is the creator, and it had a much smaller book which just has text in it. So I do prefer the larger independently produced book. The cards were huge as well. This is based on the New York Underground, and they had these top and bottom titles. It's okay, but I never use it because I love this version, and it came with a pouch as well, which is really nice. A velvet pouch in purple, which is my favourite. It's got embroidered onto it the Urban Tarot, and again it's got the infinity symbol and each of the elements, but it's based on the New York subway design. So, oh, there's a little crystal in there. Very often do that with pouches. Okay, sorry about that. That was the postman. It's not phone calls, it's the postman. But I don't even know why I'm apologising, because to you guys watching this, the way I'd have edited it, there'd have been no interruptions anyway. So yeah, so it uses the Thoth structure, so princess, etc., and keywords. This is based around Robin Scott's environment and their world, and it's based in New York, which, you know, I was able to get, here's the Brooklyn Bridge, I was able to go to gosh, 6 months ago already, is it? 5-6 months ago. But the artwork in this deck is fantastic. I just really love it. Really love it. And as you can see with the symmetry of this deck, as I said, it really does. Now this card was changed. Let me grab the new version. I think it upset a lot of people. The book actually explained it quite well, you know, how it was such an important moment. Where are we? Where's the tower? The devil. Yeah, so this is the new version. I don't like it. This kind of reminds me of an image out of the Fountain Tarot. And I know that this card would be triggering for a lot of people. But, you know, if a New Yorker creates this deck and explains in the book why this was such an important and pivotal time that affected so many people, and it was New York's Tower moment, and why they felt that it needed to be in there. However, they listened and they took on board people's thoughts and opinions, and in the mass market version, this card was replaced. These cards are like a playing card size, maybe a little bit bigger. I think they're a lovely size. They fit really nice in my hand. I do think the mass market version is a little bit too big. But you read the books as well, and these people aren't just made-up characters. They are family members and friends of the creator. Again, you know, if we look at, let's go here and grab the Thoth and grab the 4 of Fire. So on this deck, it doesn't say fire, it has the elemental symbol. So you have 4 of Fire, and the keyword is completion. Then you look at the Thoth version, and you can see the design in there. So I think it's really, really cleverly done. That's a powerful image, isn't it, for pleasure? For our 6 of Water. Here's our Devil card. The Empress. The images are just wonderful. I almost let this deck go once. Somebody wanted to trade, and I almost let it go. I love the art card, which is the Temperance, key 14 Temperance card, but look how it's got the RWS image there from this street artist. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because I love it. Really love it. Statue of Liberty's torch for the Ace of Fire. Such an amazing deck. Oh, I loved my trip there. The Bethesda statue in Central Park. I kind of wish I'd taken this deck with me now, and I could have got a picture holding this in front of it. Oppression. Shows a prisoner, an inmate. Worry. Wow. Yeah, so absolutely love the urban Tarot by Ridley Scott. No, not Ridley Scott. Robin Scott. Ridley Scott is somebody else entirely. Okay, so in second place for my top 3 of 3 for Thoth based decks is the Gil Tarot. So when I discovered the YouTube community back in 2016, started my channel in 2017, I came across this deck online, people talking about it, and it was out of print. And I was gutted because I loved the artwork. Then I heard that US Games was bringing it back. I think they brought it back in 2018 or 2019, 6 or 7 years ago. So I ordered 2 copies because I knew I'd like it and I knew I'd want a backup copy, and I worried it would go out of print again. But what I decided to do was trim one and keep one as is. So this is the trimmed version. I also edged it in multiple colours. This is the little book that goes with it. It's created by Elizabeth Josephine Gill. That's the original size of the card, so you can see how much was taken off. I'll pop them in the box. Gorgeous artwork. Now, this isn't everyone's cup of tea because for the pips, you get the number. You do get the keyword associated with the Thoth keyword, but you get these kind of abstract numbers as well. Now, I quite like that. There's an Il Meneghello deck that I want to get, actually, that does something very similar. I forgot what it's called. I had a special box made by Bunny Kisses, and it's embossed here with Gil Tarot on both sides. She asked what card I wanted on the front, and I said the Hermit, of course. It's in purple, my favourite colour. And this is the version that's not been trimmed. But I just really love the Gil Tarot. See, again, you can see, just look at the colours. Look at this. Such beautiful, gentle pastels being used in the artwork. Look at that nurture. Isn't that just beautiful? So yeah, Elizabeth Josephine Gill is the creator. She draws, let's put that side by side so you can see the difference. Oh, having it trimmed or not trimmed. I did do I think number 10 corner rounder on them as well. I don't know if I did it again. Yeah, I mean, I like both versions, really. I like both. But yeah, so she draws heavily on the Thoth system, especially the majors and the courts. The imagery is very soft. And you get a lot of the Thoth geometric simplicity. I find this deck really reflective. It's a spiritual tool that really, for me, emphasises inner growth. It stops it stops me from speaking when I see some of the images. I realise, like, you didn't finish that sentence, but I get so struck by how beautiful this deck is. Here's our Fool. Look at that. creativity, contemplation. The Devil, I think, is epic. An incredible Devil card. So that's, I mean, that's quite different to the Devil card that you would see in a traditional Thoth, but it's inspired by Thoth. It's part of that tradition, which is what we're talking about here. This is a beautiful card as well, Control. Another gorgeous image. So beautiful. There's our Despair card. The Death card. Ah, look at the Chariot. So yeah, Gil Tarot, and if it wasn't for recent acquisitions, I think this would be my favourite Thoth deck. However, not so anymore, because my favourite is my most recent, which is the Greenie. Two versions. Obviously I've showed this one, which is on MPC. Love it. But then, as you all have seen in a recent video, I was able to get a Greenie from the 1980s, this deck, for a really decent price. Colours are lovely, but I've been using this one because I know this is an old vintage deck. This one has a little bit better sizing to hold because the Greenie is huge, and I just think the yellows and colours are a little bit more saturated. See the reds in the petals? It just seems a little bit more vibrant. However, this deck has become my #1, and I'm really surprised because I just didn't think I'd ever love the Thoth deck as much as I did. And maybe it's because I have dedicated to working with this deck every day of the month. I even took the mini version of this away with me for Sandra and I, and was pulling cards whilst there on holiday, and I've just used it every day. And see, the Devil is very different in this deck. I've just loved it. I'm not into the overlays from the from the Golden Dawn. I don't follow Kabbalah. Numerology, I do. I know this kind of resembles like the Tree of Life and things like that, but Kabbalah, astrology has never really been my bag. For me, I read tarot pretty much the same across the traditions, as in they are different. With a Pip deck like a Marseille, and I'm looking at 6 of Swords, then I'm using, Swords is about the mind, the intellect, thoughts, etc. 6, for instance, when we're thinking about 6, we're thinking about what comes after the disruption of 5. Try not to get distracted by the pinging of my phone. After the disruption of 5, we then start to get harmony. I also bring in things like victory that we'll know from the RWS deck. But the numerological association. And I do that the same with this, but also we've got the keywords in Thoth decks as well, which is also another starting point, a springing off point. Lots of people who say they don't like the Thoth because of the keywords, what I would say is give it a go anyway. You know, if the Seven of Swords to you means, you know, new growth, with inner conviction, then you read with it. Get to appreciate the beauty of the deck. I've enjoyed, you know, taking the knowledge that I've gained so far with RWS and numerology and the elements, and now working with Thoth to add in the keywords. And most of the times they align up anyway. You know, there's not a huge difference between the three traditions anyway, in my opinion. But anyway, so what's special about this? It's infamous, the infamous Greenie edition from the 70s and 80s. And it's named or nicknamed the Greenie because of the green, greenish cast that affects the print quality. And some people, I think at the time, didn't like it and seen it as a bit of a fault, but in spite of the coloration, it's heavily sought after because it has a rich saturation and gives it this almost ethereal feel. Lady Frida Harris's artwork isn't for everyone. It wasn't for me for the longest time. I used to say it does nothing for me. It leaves me feeling a bit cold. But, you know, it's complex. It's layered artwork, which carries the full intensity of Crowley's esoteric vision. I intended to show this one and I ended up showing the actual Greenie, but such a beautiful, beautiful deck. So that's my top 3 of 3. I don't know how long this video has actually been recording for because I've got 2 interruptions. Why did I leave that one out? Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Anyway, yeah, my top 3 of 3. Please let me know yours. I mean, I know that not everybody is going to have all 3 traditions, you know, very often, and particularly I might not have considered doing this 6 months ago. However, there are many Thoth decks or Thoth tradition decks that you might not have even considered. You know, not everybody considers Gil or Urban or any of the Zilic and all those decks as Thoth decks, but they do follow that tradition. So let me know yours either in the comments below, or if you want to do a VR, then use the tag my top 3 of 3. And yeah, thank you for watching. Thanks for being here. I will be back probably tomorrow with one of the walkthroughs of the newly acquired decks that Cheryl sent. So until then, enjoy your bank holiday weekend. Thanks for watching. Go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.